Paulina, welcome to Botcasters. How are you?
I'm super great.
And why are you so great?
I just had my speech on the European Chatbot and Conversational AI Summit, and it was about great topic which I am passionate for.
And the topic was?
About conversational AI in a patient journey.
So we're talking about conversational AI and healthcare.
Exactly.
Also one of my passions. So tell me, we had a pre-talk, of course, but how do you envision conversational AI in healthcare in the near future? Are we going to talk to a chatbot instead of a doctor?
Oh, no.
Tell me.
Of course not. So to me, it's really quite a possible way how we, of course, improve the interaction with doctors, improve our self-management if we think about the disease management, but it's not definitely to make the doctor obsolete. To me, it's like no-brainer with that. You want more examples?
Well, if it doesn't make the doctor obsolete, what does it? AI, conversational AI, make the doctor a better doctor, and how?
I do really hope for that, to be honest, because especially now, and I can sit and talk more about the challenges, but really there are lots of challenges which we are facing from the healthcare system perspective, which are really impacting us. We are aging as a population, so it means more people will need help from doctors. Also, WHO predicts shortfall, like in healthcare workers. It's like 15 million by 2030, so it's a lot. So the doctors will have less and less and less time eventually for every patient. So the idea is how really we can make use of the information available to really help patients to understand their disease better and have better conversations with the doctors. So to me, that would be the first step. So really to empower patients and allows them to have better knowledge, and then somehow, okay, now I understand more. Oh, the symptoms actually connected to my disease. I should my doctor aware of it. That should be the first actually step of the conversational AI supporting it.
But we know there's a lot of conversational AI, ChatGPT and ChatGPT-4 just came out, is out there. I envision patients coming in with, I did my own research. Here are 5 differential diagnoses. And by the way, this is the research to support it. Tell me, doctor, what do I have? So are we going to a situation where the patient sort of knows more than the doctor? And how should doctors respond to that? Because it is going to happen.
Well, yes and no. I don't know it. I don't have like this magic ball to see what is there. I think already with Google being in place, lots of people, especially having like really diagnosis which is devastating, that's the first place you go. Of course, it depends on the personality, but it would be the first place to go. And what you are reading there is really like overwhelming. It's really scary. It's like not even saying sometimes put in a words which sometimes it's difficult to get actually in a simple way, but also it ends up that you might have cancer or that actually you will die soon, and this is really scary and this is not helpful at all. So it's happening now. ChatGPT, it's better, I have to admit, and I can imagine with GPT-4 behind with the multimodality, it's also better, but it's still not predictable. Actually, I hope there will be some specific techniques which make it more predictable. But what we know from our, not research, but really working with patients with our Emerson app, we actually know that patients who are really on the journey very long time, they really trust the physician, their doctor. So they really, even though they know the doctor does not have enough time and maybe not always being available for the discussion, it's really the authority there, actually, and trustable source of truth. So I can imagine even in the future, the kind of a person who is more, who have more authority and can help more, will be still there, actually. So even the patients can go to the doctor with, oh, this is what I learned. Maybe it will be better discussion, actually, but this will not definitely go in the direction of the replacing.
You work for Roche. You're busy with MS, multiple sclerosis. Do you think, in general, I'm not talking about Roche, but do you think medical firms will be more involved in the patient-doctor relation and the communication using AI? And if yes, how?
I think, it's again one of the difficult questions you are asking.
Well, that's what we're here for, right?
Okay. And I think there is no straightforward answer. So at Roche, as we are the pharmaceutical company, and we are really pioneer in a lot of diagnostic and pharmaceutical treatment because we are really advancing science to improve people's life. We also search for other above the pill solutions. So we are searching for additional solutions and how the technology actually could support the patient treatment above the pill and could support really achieving better outcomes. So there is a space in different medical field and medical companies or pharmaceutical companies to really think about different solutions which can really help facilitate those discussions between patient and doctors. So we are doing this now. We are really in an exploration phase in an MS area. We don't know how it ends up. Just to be fair, we are also like trying to experiment. But what we know, there is a huge need because there is a huge need to bring those two parties discussing together, and why not to check what is there. So we are really keen of. And to me, it's not only MS area. I would rather say it's very relevant for other chronic diseases, so the diseases which are really long-lasting and have different severe symptoms throughout all the cycle. So there is lots of space in that area too.
And do you envision, or would you like to see the conversational AI going more holistic? Because now there's a lot out there, but it's very a single task. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, and I would say it's also a challenge for the ecosystem in general because there is no, one system supporting doctors' decisions.
That's exactly
right?
what I mean.
And I'm not sure we will be there soon to have like one big system because there are lots of things behind. It's also our thinking about data privacy, about how we are empowered to share our data or not. So this might be difficult to have this like bright future having like one solution which fits all. And I think this is usually how the things are not happening around. But what I truly believe, going in the direction that patients will have more information around their disease, really relevant information. They start to better communicate with the doctors. And maybe eventually it also go to this trust that patient will say, okay, perhaps this conversational AI, which is between me and doctor, perhaps doctors could actually see more what I was asking for. But this needs to go to this level of trust, level of the personal data transparency, and I don't even want to think about how this can end up. And I could imagine like really bright future when doctor really even have some suggestion or ideas from the AI behind it. Then it's not only conversational AI actually, which can lead to some suggestion. Oh, this patient actually needs your help now, or something is happening. The disease is progressing. Perhaps you should have visit more often, or maybe have some discussion with a patient.
And is that the way to achieve trust, or are there other ways to achieve trust? And if yes, which ways?
Well, I think first of all, to me, the collaboration and the starting point should be like, there is not like a single company or single person trying to bring a solution and push for a solution, but rather to have this co-creation mode. So if we see the ecosystem which is willing to really improving patient healthcare outcomes and really is working on that, I truly believe the trust is kind of started to build in that place. So like not one company or one person having an idea, but really like an ecosystem co-creating it. So this is like kind of a starting point. And then the trust could be built seeing the value which is built on it, and also not seeing any harmful behavior which are behind it. So this is like a process, and we all know that gaining a trust is really long process,
Losing
but
it.
really losing it is just a moment. And I think we had it already today on a conference, but it's a no-brainer. We know it, right? So to me, it's building trust. If you ask me what is the role of pharmaceutical company in that, well, I can't answer it. What we're seeing now, it's a moment where we also can think about some advancement, but everything goes to, what value is brought back to patients, and if really patients and the ecosystem can really see this have a good influence on improving the healthcare outcomes.
Can you imagine a situation where a new medication is brought on the market, regardless which disease, and the approval is being asked not just for the medication, but the medication combined with conversational AI involving the patient and the doctor, which would be mandatory with regard to this medicine? I'm just thinking it would be.
It's just only thinking from that perspective. That would be great, not only conversational AI, although we are in this space, but whatever is needed actually for that. But, don't even ask me what is possible and what could be. But if we use just imagination, I could personally think that would be, why not?
It would increase the value of your patent because you have the data, and the data is proprietary.
But again, what I am saying here is really not to us to collect the data. For me, what we're starting now, it's really about allowing doctors to have a better so allowing actually patients to be better managing their disease, and doctors to have better information, and still not based on the data. And of course, eventually it could go to usage of the data. But really, I would not like to go in that direction currently. To me, it's like totally different scope now thinking about it, and I have no idea in which direction it can go.
You're an innovator in your company. You're doing something new.
I think so.
and not only for your company, but also in the field. If you could have a dream project in the field, what would it be?
I think I am already in.
You're doing the dream project?
Yeah, so, we could argue if we could do things more bolder, faster, better. To me, when I started, because I know that I'm super optimistic and super rushing with the thing, because I really want this is so great, let's do this. But I also learn this environment really can bring lots of harm. So I would say really small steps, and really also try to understand if it's actually something that patient would like to use. So this is actually the dream project, because I can slowly better understand the field, better understand the technology, and better understand the needs, and maybe shape it and influence it. Because even seeing what is happening in the technology area, we don't know what will be there in a year, actually. So I would really rather like to focus on shaping the environment, building trust to the technology and what the technology can make, than really rush and do something, this diagnostic tool or whatever. To me, it's a great place to be, actually.
Having all this knowledge, what would you do with universities that are training students, medical students, to be doctors? Should you, not you personally, but the field of expertise be involved in educating doctors how this works or how this should work, and how should we do that?
Well, I think the university is already doing something in that area. But I could imagine, if we think about the conversational AI, and there are companies already being involved in that space, actually, it's a great game changer, especially if we add also to it a little bit of the emotion recognition from whichever actually source, text, voice, gestures, or how we behave. That's also a game changer, and maybe it's also about having the strength for this empathy. So why also there is a space for conversational AI for patient, because sometimes there are great doctors, but patients really don't have connection with them, and this also very much impacts the disease management. So maybe those type of trainings will really also help doctors to develop this side of their practice, so to really build better connection with patients.
That's an interesting thought, to use conversational AI to train doctors to connect or to get rapport with their patients. Actually, it would be even more practical if they would have the actual patient to get the rapport with.
Well, yeah, but and of course then it could go to have like hundreds of patients, because there are different personalities and different, and maybe I am not even aware, but I could imagine some university maybe hire actors to do this.
They do.
Okay, so you did research. Yeah. Okay, but then it could have been easier with conversational AI, right? Because you don't have to, first of all, hire lots of actors, and if we even go to the area of language and the different languages, actually, it should be already leveraged.
It's like a flight simulator for doctors.
Yeah.
Actually, not a bad idea. If you could decide on which, let me say it differently. If you could decide on a project you could do now in the medical field, and let's say your current project is done, what would it be?
Yeah, I think maybe more focusing on voice diagnostic capabilities. So how we can actually use voice to detect the disease progression. Actually,
specifically in multiple sclerosis,
not specifically in general, because I'm really fascinated in how voice can be used, and there are lots of research and lots of actually mainly academia is really checking it, and there are really lots of successful, at least in this academia part, projects around it. But using just having my project done, as we just said, assumed, yeah. It would be great application, because patient would have been already use it, right? So then if we could add additional value on top of it, we could really maybe detect the disease progression while the patients were speaking with assistant, not for the detection of the disease progression reason, but just on a regular basis. And there are already actually algorithms, and there are already, I think even within the MS area, there are already algorithms which can detect the disease progression. Of course, everything is in research phase, right?
It just needs to be integrated.
Proven
and
first.
Integrated.
And yeah, as we go, integrated and have really trust, or really, to me, again, it's not to diagnose without doctor, it's really to give doctor heads up, oh, something is happening here, perhaps it's a word to check it.
And to give the patient a better understanding. I'm looking forward to the next startup in the market where there is diagnostics through voice. Yeah. I'll be looking out for you. Thank you very much for being here and joining us and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
We'll keep an eye out for you.
Thank you.